YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino Beer Review. We're going to be doing an unboxing of this here. This is the Canadian Craft Club. So the Canadian Craft Club was all over Facebook in December, and you know what? It was $39 for 2 beers, $59 for 4 beers, or $100 for 6 beers. Oh my god, that price is disgusting. I know, the price is disgusting. I figured I'd give it a shot on the twofer, as they called it, because it was 2 bottles of beer for $39. And the only reason I was going to pay $39 for 2 beers was on their website they had talked about how they had experts that were picking out the rarest, most mind-blowing, amazing beers you're going to find, and they're established in Calgary, so they can really get the most mind-blowing, amazing beers of all time, and the rarest as well. They advertised on the page. They were representing such breweries as Rodenbach, The Brewery, Victory, Driftwood, a few others, things you don't see in Ontario. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I put in my money after taxes and everything else was said and done, and adding money to the price because I'm from Eastern Ontario, I'm Eastern Canada, not Alberta. We were looking at $50.26 or something like that. So no, $50.70 or something like that. So we'll say 51. So $51 for 2 beers. The beers better be fucking good, right? I had thought, because of the fact that the website was saying a bunch of breweries that they represented, that they'd been around for a while. It came out on their Facebook page that they just launched in December, and January was their first shipment. Now, that's more my fault than theirs. I mean, I could have done more research, but their website didn't say anything about it being their first month. They said it on Facebook. So this should be a good month too, because this is the month that you want to send people something good, because you want them to come back. So let's open up the box. First off, it's a small box, very light. They're supposed to be 650s or 750s. I know on their website, on their Facebook site, they had told somebody that their price is so much because shipping is so expensive. And I'm pretty sure they use the wine shippers. And if they're using the wine shippers, they can make a pretty small box. I can ship 14 bombers from here to BC for under $30, like $24. So with a wine shipper of stuff, okay. Okay, so nice tasting notes, nice tasting note sheets, nice pictures of the beer. But that's about where I am on this. Okay. Packaging. It's nice. It's the wine shippers. Awesome. I can actually use these shippers. So I will keep them. The first beer in my $51 most rare, mind-blowing beer box is Elysian's the Immortal IPA. So first and foremost on this one is you can't call yourself the Canadian Craft Club and then sell a beer that is no longer a craft beer. Regardless of whether this beer is still good or not, it is owned by a macro company from overseas. Part of craft is that you're independently owned. And I'm not saying anything about Elysian not being good beer anymore, because I actually still really like their pumpkin ales and stuff. I'm just saying that this isn't craft, first and foremost. As soon as it sold to the big guy, it was removed from the craft market because it no longer was independently owned. And the next beer, Ommegangs Hennepin, which to an extent can be argued the same thing, because Hennepin is owned by Mookart, which is Duvel, Farmhouse Saison, and a 750 of Hennepin. Now these are both okay beers. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with them. However, I do feel like I've been robbed of about $30, to be honest with you. I know that the 6-pack came with an Ninkasi, and a Ninkasi beer, Ninkasi Noir, the Immortal, and it looked like an Anderson Valley beer because I saw somebody post a picture of the 6-pack. So the 6-pack does come with different beers than the 2-pack. If you do a 4-pack, if you do the 4-pack or the 6-pack, you get doubles of each of them. So trust me, if I had spent $100 and you sent me 2 Elysian Immortals, 2 Ninkasi Noirs, and 2 of whatever the other beer was, I probably would have been extremely angry. Now, plus sides of the box. The packaging is really nice. Maybe they'll get better selections down the road, but this selection on its own has already made me not want to ever deal with them again. I'm sorry, you don't advertise that you're working with Driftwood and Brewery and Rodenbach and all these other breweries and say that you're sending the most rare, mind-blowing beers through picked by brewers and beer experts and everything else, and then charge me $50 for a bottle of Immortal and a bottle of Hennepin. I understand that in Alberta they might be more expensive, but I can get a 6-pack of Immortal in Ontario. When it's here, which it does come here every once in a while, a 6-pack of Immortal is like $13. When Hennepin was sold here, I could get it for $8. So that's $21. So yeah, $30. $30 completely has been robbed from me on this shipment of the most rare, mind-blowing beers. Now, when you see that, you know, as a beer drinker who has done over 3,000 beers, I know that it's hard for me to get a beer club package that is going to be something that I really haven't had. And I know it's going to be difficult because I have had so many beers. And I know when I read most rare, mind-blowing beers that I have to think of it as well as a person newer to beer. Because a person newer to beer is who these beer clubs are really going to help the most. But both of these beers have very, very, very wide distribution. They have wide distribution in Canada, let alone in the US. So these are not rare. They're not hard to find. When they come into Ontario, they're here for a very long time. When I've seen Omegang in other provinces, I've seen it for a very long time. The Immortal, I know lots and lots of people have been able to get it. I don't even think I have anyone on my beer trade lists that haven't had these, so I'm just gonna have to drink them. But value. I said when I opened this, I said when I was going to get this package, I was going to get this package and around the same time as the Brewbox package, so I could talk about value fairly easily. Okay, $62 for the Brewbox. I got 7 beers. 5 of them I've never had, and 5 of the 7 beers were big format, as in 500 to 650 milliliter bottles. And 2 cans. This was 2 of 650 and a 750 for $51. This, if one of these beers had been a brewery beer and the other was one of these 2 beers, either Omegang, Hennepin, or the Immortal, that would have been a much better package. If one of these had been something from, say, one of these was like Rodenbach Classic or Rodenbach Guza or Cuvée or anything like that, and the other beer, this would have been a fine package. It still would have hurt. It would have hurt a lot to pay that money for this. But it wouldn't have been something that I open up and I get disappointed with so quickly. Again, if you have beer experts and you're going to call yourself a craft club, your beer experts really should know who's been bought out by the big guys and who hasn't. And again, I'm not saying that the beer's bad. I mean, I drink Goose Island. I drink Goose Island, Bourbon County. I drink their Honkers Ale. I drink their IPA. I drink whatever's up here every once in a while. I drink some Creemore Springs stuff. I still drink some Mill Street stuff. I don't care if they're owned by a big guy. You just can't call it craft once they're owned by a big guy. You can still say it's good beer. I hate the craft moniker, but if we're going to use the craft moniker and use it as a descriptive word, you can't use that moniker and then sell stuff that's owned by the big guys. You can't. It's pseudo-craft now, in that it's crafty, or it is still craft beer, but it's money no longer goes into the local economies. They go into a foreign conglomerate, and the foreign conglomerate actually has full control over them and can decide, you know what, actually, you can't make that beer. They might say that they have full autonomy and can do whatever they want, but in the long run, if AB InBev gets angry at something they do, they'll just say, you know what, you don't get to do that anymore. Because that's the power they have. So when I'm looking at the Immortal, first, is it a fresh bottle? Because I've never had a fresh bottle of the Immortal. I've always had which might be the only good thing going, because I hear that the Immortal is actually not a bad beer if it's fresh. And all the bottles I've had have been fairly old, because, yeah, they're Ontario beers. You know what, it's not even all that fresh. It was packaged on October 16th, 2015. So it's already 3 months old. So I didn't even get a fresh bottle of it. So this wasn't sourced from the brewery, or if it was sourced from the brewery, it was sourced from their back stock that they haven't sold yet. And that's even more agitating, to be honest with you. At least with the brew box, all the beers I get from the brew box company are within a month old. Usually at the most a month and a half. I think the January box, if it had gone here in the first week, like it usually would have, the oldest beer would have been the Bose beer, which is, that's not it either. Here we go, here's the Bose beer. And so the oldest beer from them would have been packaged on the 1st of December. So this would have went out normally on the 2nd or 3rd of January, and I would have gotten it on the 4th or 5th. So it would have been like 35 days old. That's still a fucking fresh beer. That's made for the package, basically. October 15th to January 22nd, not really made for the package. And not going to help me. I'm not going to get anything out of this that I haven't had before. The only good thing, and the only reason I might keep it and drink it, is because I don't have that cap. So I'm rambling now for nothing. Basically, this is what I'll say. Their cards are really nice. What do we have here? They show the ratings on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate, so 89 and 86, which is probably what they're going to argue is the reason they put it in here, because so that's what your experts are choosing their beer on, their Rate Beer and Beer Advocate marks, which first off you should never use, because neither of those are really accurate. If you're going to follow those, I mean, fuck, sometimes Bud is really high up, and then all the haters get there. There's actually a code on this. You can actually get people to slowly lower this code. However, once these numbers get up high, like the 86, you can't have a whole bunch of people start giving it zeros to make it drop, because they'll say, well, it's an 86, people are lying. There's only a certain amount of numbers you're allowed to go above and below. So you'd have to drop it down first to an 81, because you have a 5-point radius you're allowed to do. So you and your buddies can get it down to an 81 first, and then you and your buddies could go out and get it down to a 76, and then a 71, and keep dropping it like that. To use these numbers aren't really proper, because, I mean, anyone can spam them up or spam them down if you have enough time. Fuck, look at John Scott. He got voted in as a captain at the All-Star game. People will do things because they have too much time on their hands, and the internet allows them to do it. Now, if we go on to the back, so this here is just talking about the brewery. Sun-starved Seattle brewers have a habit of... Okay, and then on the back, what do we have here? Tasting notes and stuff. Food pairings, okay. Origin, Seattle, Washington style. Malts, hops, ABV, IBU, color, type of glasses to use, size, body. Okay, so you know what? They actually have good tasting note cards. So, as you know, after the first year or two of my videos, I tried to start doing more how shall we say, diplomatic video. So I'm going to try and give you some positives. Their tasting note cards are actually really nice. Yeah, their cards are actually nice. I'll give them that. They have some nice cards. Here we go. Omegang Hennepin ratings on Rate Beer a 97, on Beer Addict Thicket 93. Yeah, I don't even think it's close to that, but that's me. We're all allowed to have our own opinion on the taste. Yeah. So, nice tasting cards. Nice packaging. For truth, once it was shipped, it was quick shipping from Calgary to here. So quick shipping, nice cards, nice packaging. Horrible price. This was the first box they sent out, so this was their retention box. For me, there's no retention. I'm done. I'm done after one month because these aren't extraordinary. They aren't rare. They aren't hard to find. They aren't worth $50, even with shipping. Shipping on 2 beers in that size box to Ontario should have cost them about the same amount of money it cost the brew box to ship their giant box with 7 beers, which is around $12. So it's not worth the extra $30 for me. Yeah, that's just where I'm at. They're beers. They're in the box. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed with the advertising of the company. I'm disappointed with the selection they sent on their first month. And I understand it's a growing pain and this and that, but you knew going out what type of things you were going to be able to get for your first month, probably your first few months until you had consumers, and you'd go with the cheaper stuff in the first month. Now that I know that it's your first month, because you don't have the consumer base yet to actually start purchasing higher end beers. However, you had that consumer base, well, you had that problem with your consumer base. You knew what was going in, and then you put the brewery and Rodenbach and Driftwood and Victory and other such breweries that are hard to find in most of Canada and are rare and usually have some extraordinary beers on your website to draw people in. So when they clicked your Facebook link without going to your Facebook page, they would be brought onto your Facebook page, onto your website, sorry, that just said that. It didn't say this is our first month or anything like that. It brought you to that, and you're looking at it going, well, $50 is a lot of money. But if I have a chance of getting one of the beers from these breweries, it's kind of worth it. And that's what I did. And now I'm sad I did it. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that are sad they did it. I'm sure there are a lot of people also that don't care all that much, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that do care. And at $100, your $100 box, I'm sorry, there should not be a double of anything in your $100 box. You're charging them $100 for 6 beers. $100 for 6 beers. You send them 6 different beers. You're charging them $60 for 4 beers. You'd send them 4 different beers. If you're going to have an exorbitant price, and I don't care what excuse you use, that price is exorbitant, especially for anyone that knows where to buy beer and everything else. And I understand that Alberta beer prices are a little higher, but you're trying to sell across Canada. So we know that your prices are exorbitant for us. If you're going to charge $60 for 4 beers, you send 4 different beers. If you're going to charge $100 for 6 beers, you send 6 different beers. That's just the way it is. The brew box is actually getting better at sending all different beers as well. So I've been a member of 3 different beer clubs now. And I must say that the brew box is my favorite by far. It's great to have another company getting craft beer and good beer into the hands of consumers. But I will never do it again. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful night. Bye.